I cut off social media for 1 week and listed all of the benefits that made me become a better thinker and more creative person. So this past week I did a dopamine detox. One of the things that I cut off was social media. I was getting very distracted and I was spending a lot of time on social media. So I wanted to see how taking these things out of my life would actually help me improve my creative powers, help me become a more focused person and get into deeper work. So one of the benefits that I saw from this challenge that I did was that I actually gained a lot more time on my hands. With me spending a lot more time on social media, I was cutting off about 50% of my day. Not exactly, but you get the point. I was cutting off a large portion of my day just distracting myself, just scrolling on my phone, TikTok, Instagram, whatever. And with this new time that I got, about like 30, 40, 50% of my day, I was faced with a lot of boredom. And with this boredom, I had to figure out how to use it in a productive way to help me become a more creative person, help me come up with new ideas. And I realized that some of the best thoughts and ideas that we get come from this state of boredom that we are in. And it's the time where we allow our minds to make noise, because so much of us just like to distract the noise that our brain makes, and we don't even want to let it think at all. So we're always distracting ourselves, we're always scrolling, we're always watching something new, always feeding our mind instead of letting it actually speak to us. So when I cut off social media for this week, my mind was allowed to just speak and roam freely. And when you listen to this noise, you start to question a lot of things. You start to notice a lot more things because you have this energy inside of your mind that is free instead of draining it all with consumption. And with this energy that you have in your mind, you get a way clearer mind and you deal with less confusion, deal with less gaps in your thought. You get this new power of being able to think original thoughts. And I'm saying original thoughts because when you're always feeding your mind with everything on the media, you start to lose the ability to think an original thought, because what are you always doing? You're always looking at what other people are doing. You're always looking at other people's lives, and you start to think like other people. When you watch somebody, when you watch somebody for a long time, you start to act like them and you start to think in their ways. So that is not your original form of thinking. You have adopted a thinking pattern and the thoughts of somebody else, and you have implemented it in your life, and you're starting to mask that as your own thoughts, even though if you didn't watch that person and if you didn't consume all of social media's junk food, then you wouldn't be acting in that way, you wouldn't be thinking in that way. And with the original thoughts that you get, that is what actually helps you become more creative, because you're not copying what somebody else is doing. You're doing something that is original to you and nobody has ever seen it before. So that's a big thing that I noticed when I allowed my mind to just roam freely instead of constantly feeding it junk food with media. I developed this ability to think original thoughts. And I know it sounds crazy, but a lot of us, we might even notice that we haven't thought original thoughts. We're copying somebody else's thoughts because our mind doesn't know any better. It only notices the lives of other people and the habits of other people, and we copy that. And during this week, it was around day 3 where I noticed this the most, because I was only focused on myself. I didn't have anything else in my mind. You don't have any more noise, static in your brain, because that's the time where you're actually clean of all of the things that you've been consuming for your whole life. This was the period where I was most focused on myself, and I felt that throughout the whole week. But it took me around 2 days to clear my mind of all of the distractions that were inside of it. Another benefit that I saw from this week was that I actually got a huge boost in the amount of brain power that I have. I've previously talked about brain power, how everybody wakes up with a full meter of brain power, and how waking up and always getting on your phone first thing is instantly lowering the amount of brain power that you have, because you already have things circulating in your mind throughout the day and you lack the ability to think clearly. With this boost in brain power, I was able to do deep work for longer. I was able to be more focused on being creative for longer. I was able to work on more paintings. I was able to put this focus that I gained and this brain power that I gained into doing things that make me feel good. And the things that make me feel good is creating things. And I've also put that energy into making videos, coming up with new video ideas, and coming up with new scripts for videos to make. So it has felt like such a boost in my productivity, because I feel like I'm using it towards something good and something that's bettering me and also bettering others. So that is the reason why I want to continue on this way, because I don't like to distract myself with pointless things that aren't bettering me, myself, or giving any benefit to the world. I want to put this brain power towards something that's actually gonna help somebody out and actually gonna improve my abilities, help me develop my skills artistically, not only artistically, but also in other areas of my life. And that is something that I have gained after going on this week with no social media and no distractions. And another thing that I gained from this week was my habits became better with my routine, my daily routine. I was going to sleep at better times, because normally when you're on social media, you stay up for longer periods of time at night, and you already know that's not good for your eyes, that's not good for your brain, and that's not good for the quality of the sleep that you'll get at night. And when you do that, it actually affects the brain power that you have for the next day, because you're absolutely depleting it. So the amount of sleep that you get doesn't amount to what you need, your body needs. So instead of getting 8 hours, 7 hours of sleep, you actually end up getting 4 hours of sleep, and you're in the next day wondering why you have brain fog. You're wondering why you can't think straight, and you're wondering why you're always distracted easily. That's because you're not getting amount of power that you need in order to feed your mind and what it's doing on a daily. You need to stop distracting yourself with all of these things on your phone, and you need to spend more time with yourself, allow yourself to think, and focus on yourself instead of using all of your brain power towards something that is not going to really benefit you. Another habit that I developed was that I was spending a lot more time outside, and spending time outside in nature actually helps you become a more creative person. Instead of being inside by an enclosed space, being around walls, I like to go outside more. And I was going on more walks too, and I talked about how walks help you with generating new ideas, because when you're on a walk, you're allowing your blood to flow, and it's not a hard task, so you're not using much brain power towards doing the task. It's pretty meditative. Walking is a task that we've been doing for our whole lives, and it doesn't require any thought at all. So you're not using brain power, and you're increasing blood flow throughout your body. So your brain is gonna become sharper, it's gonna think more. And with this, you also want to journal all the thoughts that you get, all the ideas. If I need a script and I can't come up with anything, I'd go on a walk and I'd come back with the answer that I need. So that is a list of stuff that I have gained from this week, and all the benefits that I have noticed in my brain, my creativity, and my energy levels from cutting off social media. and I want to continue on this path. I'm gonna give you guys an update on any new benefits that I get from this, but that is from only 1 week. You don't have to do one full week. You can start off with cutting it off for just a few hours in your day, or even for a full day, and you'll start to see these benefits, because I started to see benefits within 2 days of doing this. Even day 1, I was gaining a lot more time on my hands, and I was getting this time and power to actually do productive stuff instead of draining it away, consuming junk content. Junk food is what I like to say. You want to feed yourself with stuff that are going to benefit you, and put brain power towards things that will help you or help the world. I want to thank you guys for watching this, and I'll see you all in the next video.